Hey there, everybody. Devon here. I am going to be talking about your angel messages for this Venus retrograde. Please let me know, everybody, where you're tuning in from. I love seeing everybody from all around the world. If you're watching this later on the recording, put it in the comments below. I read every single one of your comments, and I always appreciate connecting with you. We're going to be doing something a little different. We're going to do all 12 signs like I often do when there's some kind of big event going on energetically. But instead of doing the normal health, career, and relationship one, we are going to be talking about themes around Venus retrograde. So Venus went retrograde on Saturday, and Saturday here in the US on March 1st. And so we're going to talk about, for all 12 signs, your relationships during this Venus retrograde, your finances, because Venus rules money and luxury and relationships, of course. And then we're going to talk about the purpose of this Venus retrograde. So one of the things I always come up against when people are starting to learn about astrology is they feel like retrogrades are bad things when they're not. They're meant to review things. They're meant to bring things to our attention, and they are happening for us. So what we'll do is we'll start off with all 12 signs. I'm actually going to start off with the Celtic cross for the overall energy. I take that back. I'm starting with the overall energy for all of us as a collective, because that'll help you start to think about where you want to focus. Then I'll go to all 12 signs, and we will go into the purpose of this retrograde for you, what this means for relationships for you, and also finances, because, it's luxury, it's money, it's Venus. We love Venus. Now, Venus tends to be a little bit more of a easier retrograde, but there are still things you have to keep in mind. So we really want to make sure we're observing things. And I always say, please make sure you are listening to all 12 signs, because we are not just our sun, moon, or rising sign. We all have all 12 signs in our birth chart. So listen to all 12 signs. If anything resonates with you, write it down in your journal. Make sure you give yourself that gift of hindsight, your future self, that gift of hindsight, because you can go back as many times as you need to during this Venus retrograde to see what resonated and what was standing out for you. So hello, everybody that's in the chat here. Good to see you, Hubert. Road Trip 1981. Love that handle so much. And let's talk about Venus retrograde a little bit, just in case it's not something you pay a lot of attention to. Now, the way these angel messages work, it's always meant for you to reach them whenever it's in your highest interest. You do not need to know anything about astrology or the planets. If you're just here for your messages, then again, just notice what stands out for you, what gets your attention, what gives you those angel bumps. So like I said, Venus went stationed retrograde on March 1st here in the US at 6:36 p.m. Central. And also on that same day, we had Mercury go into its shadow, because Mercury will also be retrograding while we are having this Venus retrograde. So I just thought I'd point that out, because if you are somebody who pays attention to the shadow periods, you might want to know that happened on the same day. That's kind of significant there, because that means that Mercury will be coming back to where it was on Saturday. Then we also have that, let's see, I have my notes here. During Venus retrograde, so it's stationed at 10 degrees, 50 minutes in Aries. So right now it is in Aries, but it will be retrograding into the sign of Pisces, which it was already, and it likes being in Pisces. So if you do want to go back and look at when Venus was in Pisces a few months ago, well, I guess it was about a couple months, it was in December, January, I want to say. I don't remember exactly when Venus went into Aries off the top of my head, but look back if you're curious about what it was like having Venus in Pisces for you. And also during this Venus retrograde, we have two eclipses. We have a total lunar eclipse, which is also a full moon on March 14th. And then we have a partial solar eclipse, which is a new moon in Aries on the 29th. The full moon will be in Virgo, by the way. So Venus moves back into Pisces on March 27th. So we will still have that Aries energy we will be reviewing until then. That happens at 3:40 a.m. Central. So a lot of us will be sleeping during that time. Sometimes it's nice to have planets change signs while you're sleeping, because then you can work with that energy subconsciously, and you can wake up to it and already feel a little bit in that energy. It's also going to conjunct Neptune in Pisces one more time before Neptune moves into Aries on March 30th, which is historical for all of us, as none of us have experienced Neptune in Aries before. So this is interesting that we're going to have that one last little conjunction with Venus before Neptune moves into Aries. And so, like I said, Mercury goes retrograde on March 15th through April 7th. And also, we still have Mars in shadow. It did finally go direct last week, but it's still in its shadow period until May 2nd. So these energies are not going to be moving quickly. That's the thing to keep in mind. That's why I really want to invite all of you to just write down anything that comes up for you with any of these signs. Like I said, we'll go through all 12 signs and we'll touch on those 3 topics, but maybe you don't have any planets in, let's say, Virgo, but there's something that stands out to you with that energy. Well, that's probably because we will be having that full moon in Virgo. So just pay attention to everything that resonates with you. And let's see, did I have anything else I wanted to mention about that? So what I'll do, like I said, Venus goes back into Pisces on March 27th. So I'm going to talk about the 2 houses for each sign this is going to affect as well, because while it's in Aries, it's going to be affecting one part of your chart. And then when it moves into Pisces, it will likely be affecting another area, depending on what house system you're using, of course. I know a lot of people use equal or whole house sign systems. I use Placidus a lot. So it depends. I have Venus mostly staying in my 3rd house because of the way my chart is, but it's still something you want to keep in mind if you know your chart well, and just think about those areas of your life. So let me know how everybody's doing in the chart. How is this Venus retrograde treating you so far? Have you noticed anything? Did you feel it go retrograde on Saturday? I was thinking about that myself. Did I feel it go retrograde? I really didn't this time. I felt Mars go direct. It took about 8 to 12 hours for me to feel it, but I did feel it. Venus retrograde, I haven't felt yet. However, it is a gentle energy and it is something that is subtle. So that's why it's important to write down anything that stands out for you with these messages, because we really want to be observing the slow review process we're doing around our relationships, around our finances, our money, and of course, any other thing that comes up for review. One of the things you hear a lot of astrologers talk about is that people from your past tend to come back during a Venus retrograde, especially romantic relationships, because Venus does rule that area of our chart, partnerships. But it could also be an ex-boss coming back, an ex-best friend. Some argue that if they do come back, it's for one final healing and review. You are not meant to get back to them. And other people say they are meant to be in your life for a little while. They'll probably leave again when Venus goes direct. But these are things to keep in mind. If you are suddenly having dreams about people from your past you haven't thought about in a long time, that's part of this energy. I personally have had dreams about people from my childhood leading up to this Venus retrograde already. I could feel it coming in. I was like, wow, I have not thought about that person in forever. Or I'll have dreams about people from my past and none of them knew each other, but in the dream, they kind of know each other and there's this theme. So keep an eye on your dreams as well during this Venus retrograde, especially when it goes back into Pisces, because that's that very dream-like state. And we have all this energy in Pisces right now. We have Sun in Pisces. We have Neptune in Pisces. Mercury is actually going into Aries today, but it's been in Pisces. Let's see, what else is in Pisces right now? North Node, right? And of course, Saturn. So still pay attention to dreams even before Venus gets back there. And Mercury will be going back there too when it retrogrades. So, all right, enough about the energy. I just love that, for those of you who want to know or you're interested, those astrology buffs out there, that we keep that in mind as we go through these messages. And let's go ahead and switch over to the other camera view now so I can get you started with your Celtic cross for this Venus retrograde. How's everybody doing? Hubert says, is Venus retrograde a slow energy? I didn't feel it strongly. I think slow, it feels slow, maybe not as slow as Mars retrograde did, but also it is subtle, right? Because Venus is a gentle energy. So that could be another reason. So we're going to be doing this Celtic cross here for the overall energy. Now notice anything that comes up for you with this Celtic cross, okay? Because this is going to give you clarity when I go to all 12 signs here in a minute and we talk about your purpose, the purpose of this retrograde that's happening for you, not to you, and our relationships and our money while we're going through this retrograde. So I've also heard a lot of astrologers talk about how, you want to really watch out for not doing any big expenditures during a Venus retrograde, but I also don't want you to give your power away to that. If there's something you've already been planning on doing, it's already been in motion, it may mean you just have to expect for it to take a little longer before you sign on the dotted line, or it may mean you just need to do a little more homework around it. And it is a really good time for anything with an RE, again, revamping something, remodeling something. You just want to take your time. You don't want to hurry up and sign with a contractor on this big contract, right? So just really take your time with this energy, especially since we do have Mercury going retrograde as well. Hey, Erica, good to see you there. Yes, you agree Venus retrograde is subtle too. Yeah, I mean, it's one of the easier retrogrades, I feel like, usually. But if you think back to times when Venus has been retrograde and what was going on for you, there was still things that were revealed, especially around relationships. And I found that a lot of things that got started during that Venus retrograde didn't turn out the way I thought they were going to. In fact, the last time Venus was retrograde in Aries was in March and the first half of April 2017. So if you want to go search your emails from around that time, or you want to go look at photos on your phone from around that time, that might give you an idea of how this is going to affect you, just the themes going on. I actually did that this morning. I do that. I go into my email and I type in, March 2017, and I see what pops up. I also do that with photos on my phone, or I just think about like what were the big things I was doing around that time. Were there any big purchases? Those kinds of things. Erica says, retrogrades are a great opportunity for revisiting, rethinking, allow new opportunities or points of view to make themselves seen. Exactly. I love that, Erica. Thank you. Oh, nice emojis. Love it. All right. So let's go into this overall energy for Venus retrograde so that we can get to all 12 signs and give you a little more clarity around where you might see this affect you. This is interesting. 7 of Earth, seeds well planted, a temporary pause in action, and unnecessary worry. So what were we just talking about with our money? Maybe you have invested in something, or you've started a project, but it's not going as quickly as you want. This is what they are addressing with right now. Hey, Noelle, good to see you there. So here's the thing with, and April's here too. Hello. We've got the this Earth card, right, which has to do with our material resources in the heart of this spread, which Venus rules money. So it's already telling us that anything that you've invested in, we're going to be addressing with this Venus retrograde. Okay, so I love that this card is acknowledging that, because it's also saying, temporary pause. It may mean that we are having to slow down on any spending we're doing, take our time. So let's get into this more. So we'll see where they're going with this. So this is the crossing energy card. We have the ego card here. It says a false sense of entrapment, being overly focused on material things, negative or fear-based thoughts. You cannot make this stuff up. They are literally saying, we want to avoid being focused on material things. We don't want to get stuck in, I don't have enough for this, I don't have enough for that. And what Venus retrograde will do as well is will help us see where something we already have in our possession just needs a fresh coat of paint. Maybe it just needs a little sanding. Maybe it just needs a little love, right? So maybe we're going to be asked to really look at the things we have around us right now, and use that to continue moving forward. And that way, when Venus comes direct, we will have more money in our pocket because we didn't run out and buy something new. So let's keep going with this energy and let's see what's going on subconsciously for us. Another Earth card here, 2 of Earth, too much going on at once, the need to make a decision, consider a more playful approach. All right, so another thing to keep in mind is in traditional astrology, Venus rules Taurus and Libra. Taurus is an earth sign. We already have 2 earth cards popping up here. So yes, for many of us, this Venus retrograde will be more about material resources and finances than probably relationships. However, there will be relationships. It just may be that money issues come up between you and somebody, or it could be that your relationship to your finances needs to be reviewed. Okay? Yeah, some TLC, right, Hubert? I love it. So let's take a more playful approach with the things we're doing. Let's allow this slower energy to gently move us into the next phase. You know, here in the Northern Hemisphere, we'll be moving into the spring equinox during this Venus retrograde, and in Southern, you'll be the fall. So that's an energy of shift and change, and our bodies change with the seasons. So go slow, take that playful approach. We don't want to bring up stress-related health concerns because we're pushing too hard when the energy is simply not there to help you move forward quickly. It's there to help you slow down and trust that you've planted the right seeds. So let's see what's coming up in the past for us. We have the Ace of Water, falling in love, or the resurgence of a relationship, spiritual and enhanced growth, or a new home. Did some of you recently move? Did some of you just start a new relationship to something? It could be a relationship to a person, to a project, to your home. I know for me, I've been doing a lot of reorganizing and purging in my home, and it is making it feel like a new home to me, but it's really not a new home. It's very much a Venus retrograde energy of taking my home and falling in love with it again by clearing and purging and reorganizing. Plus, I always like to welcome in the seasons. I haven't gotten anything out yet, but I'm going to go digging in my closet for anything that feels like spring to welcome in spring. So congrats on those of you who really started to follow something that you're in love with, that your heart wants to do. This is a beneficial energy, and the angels are acknowledging that you're doing this. Just remember this seeds well planted card, and let's go into the present energy. Okay, this is very interesting here. We have the Moon card. It says important psychic insights, events behind the scenes, release fears holding you back. Yes, so we want to really embrace the energy of trusting divine flow with this, and check in with your intuition. If things are coming up for you that are causing you anxiety, go do something grounding. Remember earth energy, do something playful, do something fun, and check in with your intuition. Don't allow your mind to run away with this thought that, oh, I'm not going to have enough, or oh, this isn't going to work out, or oh, this is never going to happen for me. We want to go back into our intuition and really connect with our spiritual team. Erica says purging and making long-term plans for home improvement too. Taking it slow. Love it. Love it. Noelle says, I love the way decluttering and organizing feels. Spoken like a true Virgo. Love you, Noelle. Yes, I do too. I have Saturn and North Node conjunct in Virgo. It feels so good. And everyone around you feels it too. It affects the whole house. All right. So moving on to the near future energy. So this is what's coming up for us with this Venus retrograde. We have the Two of Fire card. Oh, goodness. Watch out for those, those romantic flings coming through the door there. It says you've come into your own. New partnerships or contracts continue to move forward. Okay. So this is interesting. We are seeing with the Venus retrograde energy that they're saying you will have new things coming in for this Venus retrograde. But again, just take your time. You can move forward, but remember that things are going to look different once Venus goes direct. So if somebody new comes into your life during this Venus retrograde, just remember that you're going to want to try to probably wait till Venus is direct before you're doing anything permanent with this new relationship. But go ahead and follow the excitement. Follow the fun. You know, it could be a really great new business partner that's coming in. It may not even be romantic. You just want to get really clear with everybody's motives, and it's not going to be easy to see that until Venus is direct. Noelle says, #Virgo. Yep, love it. Hey, Casglow, good to see you. Happy Monday. All right, so right now we're just going over this overall energy here, and it is encouraging us to follow our passions with these new relationships. And like I said, when I get to all 12 signs, we'll get a lot more clarity there. So it's not that you don't partake in new passions and new energy. You observe it. You allow that maybe the way it looks right now won't be the way it looks 6 months from now, so to speak. And that's often the case. Often things do not turn out exactly as we visualize. That's why we always want to ask the angels for everything to work out in the highest interest of all. So that way you can just trust divine timing. You can trust divine flow. I always like to say that soulmates will come into our life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And so you might have somebody from the past come back just for this Venus retrograde season so that you can heal something, so that you can move forward with something. Or it could be that, they're coming back into your life to start working with you on something that you never even thought of before. So they're reigniting something in you. So I really love this card as something coming up for you during the Venus retrograde. We just want to be mindful that it will look different once Venus is direct, and sometimes good different, but also maybe in unexpected ways. I know for me, when I've started any projects during a Venus retrograde, the way that they actually looked once they launched, which usually was a Venus direct because it takes time, they looked very different. And then it was whether everybody involved in the project really felt the same flow or not as to whether it was something that continued, right? So yes, reason, season, or lifetime, Hubert, love it. All right, so here's your personal power with this Venus retrograde. And of course, we will go to all 12 signs as well. We have the Queen of Earth card, another Earth sign. Thoughtful, creative, warm, sensible. Make time for those around you. Take a sensible approach to these new partnerships coming through. Deal with challenges in a kind and understanding manner. So this Queen of Earth has mastered the art of taking things slow with investments and being sensible. This is not somebody who does those impulse purchases online at 2 a.m. in their underwear, right? This is not the person who buys something just because it's on sale, not because they actually need it, right? So definitely this is going to be where your personal power comes from. Be that Queen of Earth. Doesn't matter your actual energy, just trust that this energy here is somebody who really takes time to sleep on things. My dad taught me when I was little, and it's hard to do as a kid, but when we saved our money up for something, our allowance, he would say you should look at something 3 times before you buy it. So let's say I was saving up for this toy that I really wanted. Ideally, I would go to the store on 3 separate occasions before I bought the toy. Now, how hard is that to do for a kid? What if the toy is gone by the 3rd time? But it did teach me that things that are meant to be yours will be yours in divine timing. And so it really is about just really taking the time to do the research. And so many times something better would come up, a better alternative would come up if you took your time. So basically, sleep on it. Before any big purchases, allow your self time to sleep on it. Ask your spiritual team for loud and clear signs. And definitely, check in with your intuition before we're making any purchases or we're investing in these new relationships. Although this card just gives me butterflies right here for all of us. So I am excited about that card there, and I can't wait to see what comes up in the relationships for all 12 signs. So now moving on to external factors here. So these are things that are going to be going on around us. This could be people in our world. This could be our environment, our home, our job, anything around us, anything on the worldwide stage that we see on the news. We have the Ace of Air card. The Ace of Air card, brilliant new ideas and inspirations, seeing the truth of a situation in a challenging beginning. Okay, so this is actually, I like this card for external factors because it is saying, look, you might come into a new partnership with somebody, but, maybe things just aren't taking off the way you want to, but that's because there's something that still needs to be reviewed. It's in your own interest that things are not going as quickly. So, especially let's say we are talking about a romantic relationship, you might meet somebody, things are going really great, but this person is saying to you, you know, hey, I'm not really ready for a long-term commitment, or this is moving too fast, or whatever. It could be that there may be things going on in their life that they need to heal or they need to wrap up and take care of. And it's in your highest interest that these things get taken care of before you continue to move forward. Now, of course, that's just an example for you know, a romantic relationship, but this could be things with a new job offer. It's like, you know, my boss said I was going to get that promotion, but he keeps, you know, pushing the deadline and all the things. There could be other things going on behind the scenes that even he's not aware of or she's not aware of, and it will affect you, right? But ultimately, you're going to want to wait for that truth to be revealed, which most likely will not happen until Venus goes direct. So just trust the timing is in your highest interest. So let's go ahead and do my favorite pocket affirmation. I am in divine flow. Let's write that in the comment sections below. I am in divine flow. That will help you with divine timing. This morning I had to go drop my car off to get maintenance done on it, and the place is literally 3 minutes away. But when I pulled out on the road, I was in this huge traffic jam due to a train. And it took me almost 20 minutes to go 3 minutes down the road. And I sat in the car and I said, I am in divine flow. I put on a podcast, I listened to it, and I trusted it, and I still got there right on time. So, you know, sometimes we have to just be reminded that everything is happening in divine timing when it's in our highest interest, when we allow it. And how do you allow it? You remind yourself to stay in divine flow. Yes, Hubert, my dad is wise. He's taught me so much, especially about learning how to, you know, manage your finances in a sensible way, Queen of Earth, and try to avoid those impulse buys. But it's not always easy. We're all human here. Thank you, Angie, Casglow, Erica, love it. Divine flow is protection and alignment. Exactly. Hey, Heidi. Good to see you there. All right. So just remember that you might have people saying things in kind of a tactless way to you, but it could also be the truth. So let's see what's coming up in our hopes or fears. I always say this is the card where it's like two sides of the same coin. You could both be afraid of it and be hopeful for it. And we have the release card here. The end of a phase, situation, spiritual transformation, time to move on. You cannot make this stuff up. We have 2 eclipses during this retrograde. We have Mercury retrograde as well. We will see things end in this time, but it is in our highest interest. And you can call on Archangel Azrael if you're somebody who wants to work with the angels for that gentle transformation. That's the thing to remember. It is time to move on. It really is time to move on. But sometimes there's that bittersweetness about it, right? I always think about how at the end of any school year, there would be this excitement for summer to be over. And there would be this big buildup to the end of the year, or the end of the semester, whatever that was for you. Maybe even like in college, I remember like studying so hard. All I wanted to do was get done with exams. I could be done with finals, right? And I was so ready. But then once they were over, it was like, oh, like it was this coming down off of that energy that was like, it was a release. It was like, I'm ready to move on, but oh, I'm not going to have that professor anymore. I'm not going to sit next to my friend in class anymore. You know, there's things that come up. It's like you're happy, you're moving it on. But so just trust that these things that are ending because it is time to move on. It is in your highest interest. So you have to just go into that energy of I am in divine flow. This is happening for you, and it is meant to happen. And sometimes it feels abrupt because we weren't paying attention to the energy, but all of you here are paying attention. So you probably already have a little bit of an idea of what things might be wrapping up with this Venus retrograde. For me, I'm wrapping up my angel communication course. Tomorrow's our final week together for that group of students that I just adore. We have these amazing people in this class, and I'm sad. I'm sad that we're going to be done, but we have some new, fun, exciting things coming too. So we're going to still get to see each other. But the point is that, you know, I'm happy that we came to completion and it was successful, but it's sad, right? So these are the things that are wrapping up and you're paying attention. So it's going to be phenomenal. It's setting you up for success for the rest of the year. So let's go to the final outcome and then we'll go to all 12 signs. so we can talk about your relationships, your purpose, and the purpose of this Venus retrograde for you. That's why they literally told me that too. Right when I was getting ready for this live, they were like, tell them the purpose of this retrograde for each of them. So I thought that was fun because normally I do like the main categories. All right, so we have, and if you do want the main categories, you can still go check out my March angel messages. And of course, I'll be doing an April one where I do the main categories: health and fitness, career and finance, and relationships, all of the above. Anna, no, you're so sweet. Anna's in the class with us, and she's bringing such great insight to it. So is Heidi. Good to see you there. Okay, so we have 9 of water as the outcome. What? Your wishes come true. Concerns fade away, a love of life. And guess where Venus will be when it stations direct? In Pisces, a water sign. We'll still have so much water energy there. Actually, no, we won't. We'll have Saturn still there because Saturn doesn't go into Aries until, oh shoot, I should have brought my calendar with me. We'll talk about that on a later live. I don't remember if Saturn is still in Pisces when Venus goes direct, but Venus will be there. And this is that water energy. Concerns fade away. This ending is also going to be a relief. It's going to be a relief, okay? So that's the positive side. That's what we want to look at. It will bring some sort of relief. So I really love this. I'm going to make sure these are straight in case you want to take a screenshot of it. But remember, you can come back and listen to these messages anytime you want. And of course, I will go into all 12 signs and then wrap this all up with a bonus message at the end. So stay tuned to the very end and make sure you are listening to all 12 signs. Grab your journal, write down anything that stands out for you. And make sure that you date it and you just notice. If I'm talking about a relationship, who's the first person that pops into your mind? If I'm talking about, or the first thing that pops into your mind, right? It could be your relationship to your body. When we're talking about the purpose, of course, what's the first thing that comes to mind? What's the purpose of this? What are you working on right now? What are you thinking about? You know, we all have a need to be passionate about something and have a purpose in our lives. So even if you're retired, or maybe you're in between jobs, or maybe you're a student, you know, and so you're focused on just moving through the process of getting your degree or your education, there's still something that you need to have that you're passionate about to help you move through this energy. So we're going to see what that is as we go into these all 12 signs. But I love this spread for this. This is really powerful. It's such a great reminder that any kind of things involving money or material resources, we're going to want to use this personal power of Queen of Earth. Be sensible, all right? Watch out for those impulse purchases. Watch out for those salesmen telling you you've got to buy today or you're going to miss your chance. You know, I always find that the angels provide a better option if it doesn't work out. If it's feeling rushed or too much pressure, the angels provide a better option. They really do, especially when it comes to relationships too. So, okay, let's talk about this. We're going to talk about the purpose of each relationship, the purpose of each 12 signs. Of the 12 signs, we're going to talk about why this is happening, right? The purpose of this. Then we're going to talk about anything involving money. This could mean jobs, career, but it could be investments. It could be something you're remodeling. And then we're going to talk about relationships, all right? So remember to write down anything that pops into your mind, any images that pop into your mind, any people. Maybe you all of a sudden think of a location in the planet. Maybe you haven't even been to that location. 11:33 my time. Got to shout out the angel numbers, right? All right, so I'm going to remember to do these whatchamacallit, these signs for you guys. Let me do the signs so that it's easy to come back and find. Let's make sure you can see that. All right. Just checking to make sure you can see that on the screen, and this just popped in my way. Yes, you can see it. Yay. Yay, Aries. All right, how's everybody doing in the chat? Oh, thank you, Casco. Yeah, if you haven't already, I really appreciate it if you hit the like button, share this video with anybody you think it would resonate with. I really appreciate it. Of course, hit subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you to all my subscribers. Love seeing you here so much. All right, let's talk about Aries. So first I want to mention what houses Venus is retrograding in for you. Aries, this is going to affect your first house, right? Because this is, where Venus is right now. It's in Aries. So that's yourself. That's your identity. That's your physicality. It's what we come into when we're born. We come into our physical body. And then when it retrogrades back into Pisces at the end of the month, it will be your 12th house. So this is the unseen, the hidden. This is dreams. This is intuition. This is past life, karma, all these kinds of things. And so you may be reviewing some things with that. So definitely think about anything that came up for you during Pisces season or may still be coming up for you right now. It's there for review. It's there for you to open up to a different perspective in there, right? Oh, Anna heard an owl at 11:33 too. I love it. Yep, our owl chimes in every once in a while. I don't hear him every day, but I did just hear him the other night. Noelle says, listening while I work, loving the grounded and high vibe messages. Oh, thanks, Noelle. Love it. Love working with you. All right, so let's go into Aries' purpose of retrograde. Now, remember, we all have Aries in our chart, but career change. The purpose of this Venus retrograde, Aries, is career change, all right? Now, we don't take these things super literally. You may be thinking, but I love my job. I don't want to change my career. But look, it's also your first house. So, at least while it's in Aries, it could be the way you identify with your purpose and where you're going. You may once have always seen yourself as a beginner, and now you see yourself as a master. Or you may say, I was going to do energy healing and, I was going to do one-on-one sessions. Now I'm going to start doing group sessions, right? Or I'm going to start collaborating with another type of healer. And this could be anything for you, but you can't get more blunt than that. Career change, Aries. So that is the purpose of this Venus retrograde for you. Remember, Venus is going to ask us to open up to things, opening up to new perspectives, okay? So let's get a little more clarity by asking, what else does this mean for Aries regarding money or finances, especially since career does affect our finances. This could mean retiring, okay? This could mean what you're focusing on for your legacy, but that is really interesting for you guys. And what do we have coming up for money for you guys? We have spring. Look at that. I love that. Your desires fully manifest as the flowers begin to bloom. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, so, you are going to see some changes coming up around your material resources, your finances, your career, Aries. This is really fascinating. Now, one of the things that could be happening for you is you do have a boss call you up from your past and say, hey, would you like to come back and work for us? We're starting this new project. You're going to want to take your time and get all the information for that. But it could also make you realize you do want to do something different. No, I don't want to go back to that. That isn't something that my heart is anymore. And it makes you realize you really need to take action with your career once Venus goes direct. You do want to go back to school. You do want to move away from that, whatever that is for you. So that's really, really positive. This is all happening very soon for you. And of course, with it being in your first house, no surprise there. So think about that because it could also be like I said, the way you identify yourself when it comes to the work you do. Maybe you haven't really come out of the spiritual closet yet. And by the end of this Venus retrograde, you're out there going, yes, I am an astrologer. Yes, I am a Reiki master. Who knows? This is going to be about how you identify. So really fascinating stuff for Aries. Let's see what's coming up for your relationships, Aries. Again, you're going to want to think of the first person that pops into your mind. It could be more than one person because we are going to be reviewing all of our relationships, and we are going to be reviewing our relationship to things, to jobs, to our body. And with it being your first house, it could be your relationship to your body. It could also be your relationship to your ex because we have the 12th house energy coming in for you there. Gina, good to see you there in the chat. Oh, awesome. So glad you're tuning in. So we're talking about Aries now and your relationships. We have children. children. What comes up for you when you see this card, Aries? Is there going to be a change in your relationship with your children? Are you thinking about having children? Are you thinking about, working with children? Again, we have career change here. Have you ever thought about the work you're doing, maybe how it could help children or how children could bring a new perspective to it? Now, this could also literally mean something that's a legacy for you. So you've been thinking about writing that book. It's time to go back to all those drafts you have sitting on your hard drive and review them during this Venus and Mercury retrograde and start working on giving birth to that project. So what is your relationship to some type of legacy? Because legacy, this card, we don't take them literally. It could literally mean children, but it could also mean your legacy, what you came here to do. So you may be really making big changes in your the way that you head in the work that you do, something you never thought you might use your work for, right? So this is interesting that you're getting this, and I am getting for most Aries listening, it doesn't have to do with actual children. It has to do with legacy. So what is your relationship to your legacy? How do you view it? And I feel some really new things coming in for you. And I think what's going to happen is you're going to be spending all this time with your first house and 12th house energy reviewing things that you're going to come out of it way more clear on how you want your legacy to look. So this is super positive for you, Aries. I love it. All right, let's move on to Taurus. Taurus. How are you guys doing out there? All right, so we have Taurus. Oh, I had this Taurus smaller here. That's from when I did you guys see Chris Reck on my channel last week? We talked about your personal power. If you missed it, definitely go check it out. And, I'm glad this came up. That's why I had the signs different there. On Wednesday, I have the honor of going on Minnow Pond. Here's the link. I'm going to be going on Minnow Pond with Chris Reck. We're going to be talking about the eclipse season. So there's the link right there to the Minnow Pond live this Wednesday at 12 Central. It'll be right after my live on Ravens and Crows. So I'll be doing a live on Ravens and Crows plus your angel messages at 11 on Wednesday here on this channel. Then I'll invite you over to follow me on over to Minnow Pond Tarot, which of course you guys should be there every day anyways, because those readings are so profound. And we will hop over to Minnow Pond and we'll be talking about the eclipses for all 12 signs that are coming up, the ones that I was talking about right now. So that's going to be super fun. Oh, you like Ravens and Crows too, Erica? We did a poll on what spirit animal I should talk about next, or animal in general, and that was the most voted on. So we'll be doing other animals as well, but we're going to be doing Ravens and Crows this Wednesday at the 11 a.m. live. Okay, so thank you for that pause, but that's why the signs are different is because they're different sizes, I should say, is because when I was on with Chris, I was having to move it around because I had it covering my face. All right, moving on to Taurus energy, your purpose. This is the purpose of this retrograde for Tauruses or wherever you have Taurus in your chart. Darby likes Ravens and Crows too. I love it. Counseling. So the purpose of this retrograde for Tauruses, you heal with kind words, wise advice, and an empathetic ear. So what are we doing with a retrograde? We're reviewing things from the past. And I didn't mention the houses for you guys, did I? So that'll give us a little clarity. This is also happening in your 12th house right now, right, Tauruses? While Venus is in Aries, it's in your 12th house. Then it's going to move into your 11th house. So it makes perfect sense that it's going to be about counseling, because in the 12th house, we're reviewing things from our past, our karma. We're going deep, right? And then when it moves into your 11th house, you may actually have some exes coming back from the past, or you need to go to counseling about past relationships, because 11th house is the people you surround yourself with, right? Your social networks. So it might really benefit you to use this Venus retrograde to seek out some professional counseling or just do your own self-reflection. That's going to be really powerful. And we're going to go deeper into that in just a minute. Gina says 2 eclipses and 2 retrogrades and Neptune changing this month. Hold on. Exactly, Gina. It's going to be Powerful, powerful energy, but it is happening for us as long as we're observing and really staying grounded. So I know we've got this. We've got each other to get through all this. And with this counseling, this is happening here. It doesn't mean you have to go out and spend money on getting a counselor. Maybe it's something you've been thinking about, and so you're going to finally take action on that. But it could mean that you just need to seek out some people that you trust, some trustworthy relationships, and talk through this stuff. Just sometimes just talking about something brings you clarity, right? Have you ever had to tell the story of a breakup to somebody and you tell it, 10 years later and you have an epiphany about that relationship? That's happened to me, not just with breakups like romantically, but endings of friendships. When I've had to retell something, I'm like, oh, wow. Like now that I'm older and wiser, I see that that person was telling me what was going on. I was just turning a blind eye to it, right? So sometimes just telling the story can be helpful. Write it in your journal, right? That's a great way to do some self-discovery. So what do we have for finances for Taurus here? We have dietary change. All right, how does that translate? It says improve your diet. Your life will also improve, okay? So again, we're not taking this literally. What do you think of when you think of diet? You think of what you consume, right? What are you consuming right now? Since we asked the angels for guidance around money here, it could mean that you're making changes around what you're consuming. What are you spending money on? Are you spending too much money on, TV subscriptions that you don't even watch, or when you do watch them, you don't feel good afterwards, right? Like, those never ending news cycles that are always trying to get your attention and get in your face. That maybe you need to watch what you're consuming when you're online, right? So think of what's the first thing that came to mind for you, but something around money that you are consuming, that you're spending money on, make a change with that. Maybe you are spending too much on something you're consuming, and there's a better way to consume that energy, whatever that is, right? Maybe there's a different way to go shopping for those supplements or for those, whatever your normal grocery budget is. Maybe there's a better alternative to getting that type of food in your system. But since this is, all money, it really just, you really want to think about where you're spending your money and how you might be able to make some changes there. So it could be making some changes in your investment portfolio. It could be making some changes in just how you spend your time working on things. Okay. So of course, this is not advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a healthcare provider. I'm just saying, think of the first thing that came to mind. You're going to want to make a change in your spending. Okay, remember we had that energy of the Queen of Pentacles or Queen of Earth earlier for your personal power. Be sensible, really be sensible. Is there something you've kind of been splurging on? Time to make that change, okay? Do you have a big expense coming up? Maybe there's a better way to do it. Maybe there's a better way to approach it, okay? So I really think that's important to keep in mind with your finances, Taurus. So what do we have for relationships for Taurus? Let go of control issues. All right, where does that hit you, Taurus? Allow the situation to unfold naturally. All right, Tauruses, I've got a Taurus moon, so I can say that Taurus energy, it tends to want to control things sometimes, right? We like stability. We don't like chaos. We don't want things to be out of control. We want our creature comforts. We want luxury. Venus rules you guys, right? But we have to allow divine timing. We have to allow divine flow. We have to allow things to unfold naturally. So who was the first person that came to mind when you heard let go of control issues? This could be a colleague. It could be a child. It could be a boss. It could be your romantic partner who wants to spend a bunch of money. And you're saying, no, we got to stop changing. We got to stop spending so much money on this. Or they're saying to you, I really want to change up the way we're investing in things, and it makes you uncomfortable because it's new, it's different. So you know what this is, Taurus, but just remember, ultimately we don't have any control outside of ourselves, right? We can't control others. We can't control when our partner is going to be ready for something. We have to allow that timing. And I am getting that for a lot of us. We have people in our lives that haven't quite had their aha moment. Does that resonate with you? They haven't had that aha epiphany, that moment of inspiration, and you see it, but they don't see it. And you're trying to get them to see it and they won't see it. So whoever that is for you, try to release that, okay? We did have that Archangel Azrael card, that let go, time to move on. If things are just not working, it could be that this Venus retrograde is getting you to see that, It might be time for an ending. It might be time to part ways. But we can do it in a sensible manner. We can be compassionate about it. And this eclipse is going to help that happen. You read my mind, Hubert. Spiritual awakening. There you go. That's exactly where I was going. All of you are here because you are highly intuitive. You have natural born intuitive abilities. And at some point, you realized it. You owned it, right? We all have it. But at some point, you were like, I have this. The divine is within. I have this divine power, right? You realized it, but there are people around you not quite getting there. They're getting caught up in the headlines. They're getting caught up in what they're consuming, right? But we got to let them go through their journey. And it's so hard, especially when we've had a lot of growth by doing the work, right? So it's okay. It's going to work out. It's going to work out. Hey, AC, good to see you there. Glad you made it. We are moving on to Geminis. I'm having so much fun with you guys. I didn't realize it was already 15 minutes into the live. But yeah, we are going to talk about Geminis now. Geminis, this is happening for you. Let me get my notes out because I've got something covering here. Okay, Gemini. This is happening in your 11th house while it's in Aries. Social networks, people you surround you with, your public reputation, who you work with, just groups, any groups you're a part of. And then when it moves into Pisces, back into Pisces, it's going to be a lot about your career, your legacy, what you're leaving behind, what you are known for, right? So these are the things that you're going to want to be thinking about with the Gemini energy there. And let's see what the purpose of this retrograde is for Geminis. Flowers. The purpose is flowers, Gemini. Okay, how do we translate that? It says, working with flowers opens your heart and brings blessings to others through your life purpose. All right, so how do we translate this is what this retrograde is doing for you? It's getting you to focus on your purpose. See, this person she's focusing just on the flowers. She's absorbed in this beauty, this fragrance. What you need to be focusing on with this retrograde, the reason this is happening for you, Geminis, is because you're not putting enough attention on your purpose, on what makes you happy, on what brings you joy, right? So Geminis, this is going to give you a chance to review things in your social groups, your networks, and your current career, your current work you're doing, or if you're retired, whatever it is that you are working on right now, whatever projects you have going on, it's going to give you a chance to review all that and say, you know what, am I really following my purpose? Because I feel like Geminis are going to change that. By the time we get out of the Venus retrograde, your focus is going to have shifted. There's going to be a shift there, right? And we did get that guidance, I think, for your March, Gemini. I know somebody did, but it was maybe it was my reading with Chris last week, but we were talking about focusing. You really got to pick something and focus on it. And we know Geminis can see that the glass is both half full and half empty. We know you guys see that, but focus on the fact that it's full. Focus on that you have that half full glass and then go for the purpose. Now, of course, since this energy is a slow moving energy, you're going to want to review things you've done in the past to see what made you feel like stopping and smelling the roses and what made you feel ick. Right? Like that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be reviewing these things. That's what happens with these relationships. That's why I say listen to all 12 signs is things that once were really appealing to us, like a beautiful bouquet of flowers, may not be so appealing anymore. And we've got to be honest with ourselves about that. So let's move on to your finances, Gemini, for this retrograde. We have spiritual teacher. Your life purpose involves teaching others about healing and spirituality. Well, there's your answer. It says the purpose of this retrograde is to follow your life purpose, and your life purpose is to teach others about healing and spirituality. How awesome is that? But it doesn't mean you have to do it literally. Again, we never take these messages literally. The angels will never tell you what to do. It doesn't mean you have to go out and quit your job as an accountant to become a spiritual teacher, which I did. I did do that. But that was years ago. That was actually in 2017 that I did that, the last time we had Venus retrograde in Aries. Isn't that funny? I started my business officially. I was doing it on the side for friends and stuff, but I actually started my business. Left the accounting profession completely, closed my small business consulting, and went into spiritual teaching. But I have Mars and Gemini, so that's where that was affecting me there. All right, so let's move on to relationships for Gemini. We have, what's going on? You deserve love. You are lovable. You are so lovable. Geminis, you know that you're lovable. You're so charismatic. You're so fun to be around. You know how to make everyone in the room feel comfortable. You know what makes them uncomfortable, so you know how to make them feel comfortable, right? And so just please trust this with whatever changes happen in your relationship. If there are people around you not making you feel deserving of their love, red flag. And that eclipse is going to make it very clear, right? So look for that even exchange of energy. And, sometimes when we are going through trouble in a relationship, especially if it's like a romantic one, go focus on your life purpose. Get out of that energy for a little bit, Remind yourself of the divine within. And that's going to really be beneficial for Geminis during this Venus retrograde. I love that. All right, you'll have to let me know how that goes for you guys. Moving on to Cancers, which of course is yours truly. That's my sun sign, but I do listen to all messages here. All right, Cancers. Let me make sure that this is pulled up on here. And my mouse is hiding from me now. There, okay. For Cancers, this is happening in your 10th house while it's in Aries. Of course, we're talking about your solar chart. And your 9th house when it goes back into Pisces. So 10th house is career, legacy, worldwide stage, what people view you as, your public reputation. And then when it moves into back into your 9th house, that's spiritual teachings, which we know Gemini just got. This is foreign travel. This is, studying things, learning, going back to school. So it's also publishing. Maybe you've been thinking about finally getting a book published. So you're going to probably be reviewing some things around that. It could also be like finally launching that podcast or that YouTube channel too, right? So those are the areas you want to think about mainly with these messages, but also remember all, just anything that resonates. So we're going to be moving on to what is the purpose of this Venus retrograde for Cancers? Animals. I was talking about, we're going to talk about ravens and crows on Wednesday and what it means if you see one. Also their spiritual meaning and their characteristics. Cancers are a nurturing sign. Most Cancers I know, including myself, love animals. And it says you understand animals and communicate with them intuitively. Trust your inner guidance as the animals are part of your life's work. Okay, so you're going to be reviewing your connection with animals, all right? And I've been doing that. That's literally something I've been doing because I've been talking to you guys almost weekly about a different animal. I'm creating a series with it, by the way. You get to hear this first. I'm going to take those lives and put them into a shorter video where it's easy to go back to, because I know I love to chit chat with you guys on these lives. So I'm going to be pulling the main information out and relaunching those videos as a series so that you can just go in there and, like, if you want to, binge listen to all the animals together on a playlist. So that's probably something I'm going to be doing during this Venus retrograde. I'm going to literally go back to those videos, reorganize them, revamp them, and reload them to YouTube. But also I've been working on some other projects right now where I'm going back and reviewing my journals, and I'm reviewing little blog posts I've written on animal communication. You may not know, I also am a trained animal communicator. And I have been having a lot coming up around animal communication again lately, because I don't offer those sessions right now, but I do have things come up around those sessions, or I'll have, somebody who was once a client come back during this type of energy. But this could also be you, just renewing your relationship to animals. It could be that, when you were a kid, you love spending time, going to the animal shelter and playing with the puppies. And now you want to start doing that again. You want to start volunteering there again. This could be maybe a new animal is coming in and to your life, but it's actually a soulmate from the past. It could be, a reincarnated animal from the past, or a soulmate from a past life. Animals that come to live with us, they are soulmates. So they're part of our energy. So I love this. I can't wait to hear what comes up for Cancers around animals with this Venus retrograde. Like I said, I've been reviewing a lot of stories around animals from my past. Then career and for finances for Cancer, what do we have? We have your wish is granted. What you've asked for is coming. I just got angel bumps all over the place. What was the first thing that came to mind regarding your finances? Have you launched something recently? Are you working on something new? These things are coming for you during this retrograde. You're just going to have patience, allow them to unfold in divine timing. But you made a new wish on that new moon. You made a wish regarding your finances, didn't you? And your wish is granted with this energy. So just have patience with that, because it's going to take time, right? Like we said, that's what Chris Reck and I were talking about. Really until like mid-May, it's just going to feel slow, all these things coming together. And what's funny is I went to see, I think right after we finally have Mars out of shadow, Pluto retrogrades. But that can also be a good thing too, because, Pluto's on the transformation path right now. And we kind of want to, when Pluto retrogrades, we'll let the dust settle and see where everything landed, right? So let's move into relationships for Cancers. We have express your love. Go ahead and make the romantic gesture. Who popped into your mind there, Cancers? Who are you thinking about? I mean, romantic, it's probably a romantic person. Have you been thinking about asking somebody out? Have you really wanted to bring in a little more romance into your current relationship? Leave them a little note in their coat pocket or on their nightstand. Do something, bring that romance in, express your love. Venus loves romance and beauty. And, what I'm really getting for this card, especially for Cancers, it really is a lot about romance. And even if you don't have a romantic partner, you're not seeking to have that in your life, that's fine. But what's the romance in your life? Like, what makes you fall in love with life? Is it spending more time in your garden? Is it spending more time with your animals? That can be very romantic as well. Just being in that bliss of immersing yourself, right? In the world where you feel loved. And so, yeah, I really feel like, and then for those of you who are thinking romantic, go back to your favorite spots. Go do the things that you love doing together, right? This is going to be really beneficial for you if you are seeking a romantic relationship there. But if you're not seeking romance or this isn't around that, then think about the things that help you have that love of life where you really feel blissful and joyful, because you're going to be going back to those things is what I'm getting. You know what I mean? So think about the things that, especially if it involves animals, that you might want to go back and start doing again. And that's going to help you just really embrace this energy. So I love that for Cancers. All right, moving on. Hi, Linda. Good to see you there. Moving on to the Leos. Lovely Leos. All right, Leos, how you doing out there? So we are talking about Leos now. And for Leos, I'm going to have to figure out a better system here because my mouse keeps disappearing on me. For Leos, right now as Venus is in Aries, retrograding through your 9th house. Okay, so like I said, for the Cancers, this is publishing, this is spiritual teachings, this is foreign travel, this is, esoteric type work, like going deep, going back to school, publishing, broadcasting, all those things. And then it'll retrograde into your 8th house, right? Which is a very mysterious, deep house of intimacy, other people's resources. So that's something to keep in mind. It's like inheritances and just how you benefit from using other people's resources. So this is going to be really interesting because this energy is having you go back to something with that. So let's see what that is for you. Hey, Sparkle and Grit. She said, this Leo rising is super tired today. I feel ya. I know this energy has been a lot. I'm hearing that a lot in the comments. I'm hearing that from people around me. Hang in there. I think we're just getting the final bits out of our system so that when we hit that spring equinox, we can really launch into a fiery Aries energy there. Even if you are in the southern hemisphere, you're still going to have that Aries energy to help you out. So, all right, Leo, what is the purpose of this retrograde for you? Or Leo rising, Leo moon. But of course, all 12 signs. Speaker, what did I say? This is going to go back into your 9th house. All right. Are you going to start a podcast? Are you going to start a YouTube channel? Your life purpose involves your skills of oration. Are you going to teach a workshop? Is there something you used to teach? You're going to go back to teaching it because 9th house is teaching. So, and then your career, what is something you used to do that you could teach about and turn it into a career maybe, right? Like I love journaling, and actually it was in March and April of 2017, the last time we had Venus in Aries, retrograde in Aries, that I was teaching journaling workshops. I was teaching people how to do the type of system I teach for connecting with your angels. I was doing in-person workshops, right? So these are things you can go back to for a while and then review them and revamp them. But think about something that your heart would like to speak about as we go into what we need to know about money for Leos during this Venus retrograde. We have express your individuality. Oh, that's not going to be hard, Leos. Allow your true self to shine because you're awesome. Yeah, when Leos really step into their power, they do express their individuality. They don't care what other people think about the way they dress or how they act or what they do, right? That's them being in their authentic power. That's them showing their awesomeness. So your finances are going to benefit from that, especially with this Venus retrograde. Now, another thing that a lot of astrologers will say is, don't go out and get plastic surgery or buy a whole new wardrobe when you have a Venus retrograde, okay? But what you can do is you can shop your closet. Go digging into the back corners of your closet, see what you haven't worn in a while. Bring that out again. I mean, we're going into the spring anyways. You're probably already going to be putting away a lot of your winter clothing and getting out your spring stuff, but try changing it up again a little bit. Like, wear it a different style somehow, but don't do anything permanent. Just be individual. Like, are you somebody that has a lot of, bracelets with crystals and stones? Maybe it's time to start wearing them outside of your house. Maybe you're only wearing them in the privacy of your home, and it's time to get out of the spiritual closet and let everybody know you have that tiger's eye bracelet that you wear to work under your sleeves, right? So whatever that is for you, let's move on to your relationships, Leos. You have keep an open mind. Keep an open mind. Your soulmate may differ from your usual type and expectations. Interesting. Since we have a Venus retrograde going on right now, you might have to review your past relationships and be honest with yourself. Do you have a type? Do you tend to always attract the same type of person or the same issues in relationships? Use this retrograde. I think also, like we had for Tauruses, talk about it. Talk to somebody about why do you keep ending up in those types of relationships? Because we're going to want to heal that. We're going to want to release that. And it may mean that the person who then eventually comes in for you does look totally different or has a different belief system or just comes from a different background. And then that's finally the energy that really matches with you that allows you to break those old patterns. So I really like that for Leos. You're going to be spending a lot of this time or even if you just have a lot of Leo in your chart, like this affects me because I have Mercury and Jupiter conjunct in Leo. That's speaking big, loud, right? And so I'm going to need to review a lot of the things that were going on for me in 2017. Maybe I'll be reviewing the curriculum for my journaling workshops, right? And really getting clear about like what worked there. But if you are talking about a romantic relationship, again, it could be reviewing where maybe you weren't able to be authentic. Were you not your authentic self in those relationships? And that's why they ultimately always didn't go the way you wanted them to. All right. So I think this is really going to be good for Leos to review. It's going to bring in an opportunity for some really great relationships once Venus is direct. AC says, I'm not a Leo, but hearing you say use the Venus retrogrades to review if you have a type is really good advice. That hit home. Thank you, AC. Yeah, isn't it interesting? Like just talking about something. That's why I was saying earlier, I don't know if you had tuned in yet, AC. I was saying that sometimes telling the story of a breakup, even if it's a breakup with a friend or a boss, right? You realize things, RE, that you didn't realize during the breakup or you didn't realize before the breakup that was kind of leading towards the breakup. You know what I mean? You're just like, oh, wow, I really was turning a blind eye to that. Or wow, that person really was manipulative about that. Or I really gave my power away to that. So yes, any type of review, especially around relationships and finances for this Venus retrograde is going to yield major dividends once it goes direct. Okay. So this work is work, but it's worth it. All right. I love that. So let's move on to Virgos. Thank you for being so patient. You guys are always so patient. I know we got one Virgo working alongside us out there. Janie says this is speaking to me. Good. It's speaking to me too. I tell you what, it's fun how we all come together like this and it helps everybody. Oh, thank you so much, Linda. I appreciate that. All right, let's move on to Virgos. Virgos, this Venus retrograde is happening in your 8th and 7th house, right? So like we were saying for Leos, 8th house is other people's resources, intimacy, it's inheritances, it's, just really, it's deep. There's a lot of things with the 8th house. And so right now with Venus retrograde here, you may be reviewing that. Maybe you're thinking about reviewing your will, right? Have you done that lately? There's things that are going on for you guys right now involving other people's resources. And we're going to get into your messages, but I am already hearing that you're probably going to be reviewing past relationships with work a lot, Virgos, especially since we have that full moon eclipse that's coming up in Virgo. You're going to realize the things that you do not want anymore. And then when it goes into your 7th house, same thing, but with your one-on-one relationships, with your contracts, with ex-bosses, ex-boyfriends, ex-husbands and wives, like all these things are going to be coming up for review. I do feel Virgos are going to have some exes reaching out to them. Just keep those boundaries up unless you're just wanting to repeat that past there. So let's go a little bit more into your guidance here so we can see what they're talking about. All right. So what is the purpose of this Venus retrograde for Virgos? Teaching. You're going to be teaching. You inspire young people to learn. All right, what is something that you love so much that you could teach it? All right, there's something that you know a lot about. And this is getting you to review all the knowledge you have. Remember, I said I feel like this is going to have to do with your career. This is ultimately going to be your work. Even though it's your 8th and 7th house, you're going to say, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not having that kind of boss again. I'm not working with those kind of people who are so closed-minded, whatever it is. But yes, definitely something you are very knowledgeable about. This Venus retrograde is going to give you an opportunity to teach about it. And teaching can be so, in so many ways. Maybe you're starting a podcast about a topic, right? So it doesn't mean you have to actually go become a teacher at a school. Noelle, ooh, love the teaching card. Yep, I know you do, girl. I know exactly what that means. Yep, AC likes it too. Yeah, hitting home, right? All right, so what about finances for Virgos with Venus retrograde? We have love life. Love life. It says, the basis of your question involves your romantic life, which is now changing for the better. All right, so something in relationships, some of you may be starting a relationship with somebody who it's going to benefit your finances. Or it could be that you're realizing the way you gave your power away to your career or to something involving finances with a partner, right? Were you in one of those relationships where the other person was always very controlling about how you spent money, or maybe they didn't have control and you always had to be the one, saying, hey, let's cut back. So since this is coming up in the finance area, you might want to consider that, reviewing relationships in the past where you had shared resources, because we're talking about 8th house right now while Mercury is there. Joint checking accounts. Did somebody drain your checking account? These are things that are still coming up for healing and reviewing and looking to see if maybe, I did not protect myself there. And that happened, and I've got to heal that. And I've got to trust that next time will be better, right? So keep that in mind. Let's see what comes up for relationships here. For relationships, we have release your ex. So yeah, the time has come to clear your energy. So Virgos, you remember all the details. And sometimes that can hold you back, right? There's some things that are still upsetting you about an ex-boss, about an ex-lover. There is something around finances. Did you have somebody that didn't pay you what you were worth in your career? Did somebody really overuse you, take advantage of you? This has got to be healed with this Venus retrograde. It really does. If you don't get that healed, it's going to hold you back. Plus, I'm also now getting with this teaching card that, I really feel like you're going to learn some lessons about your past. You're going to be going, okay, where does that thing that's every time I think about it, just, it gets under my skin, right? You're going to get some lessons out of that, and it's going to help you really let go of your ex there. Yeah, definitely. Erica says, go back to my ex energy and release family bosses. Noelle says, okay, I mean, you can't make this up. Yeah, right? Okay, well, that's interesting. I don't know what you're referring to, Noelle, but definitely it is important. Erica said, I had a big dream about my mother last night, like I was being held back. Interesting. Yeah, that stuff comes up at the weirdest times. But, there is definitely a lot of energy for Virgos around just where we allowed someone else to have power over us. And maybe it was because we felt like we had to have that job, even though we were being mistreated or underpaid. Or maybe it was a partner or a parent who didn't let us, who maybe demanded things out of us or was judgmental of the way we spent our money. These are things that need to be healed, and we need to focus on where we were giving our power away to that. So, okay, you got this, Virgos, though, because remembering all the details isn't always the best thing. But if you can try to get to the bottom line of why it was so painful and why you felt like your power wasn't there, that's going to help you going forward, especially with where you're headed with your finances. All right, Libra, Venus rules you guys here. This is going to be powerful, especially since it's happening in your 7th house and your 6th house. So 7th house, marriage, one-on-one relationships, contracts, long-term commitments, right? Significant others. Yeah, really powerful, Libra. And Venus is opposing that right now as it's in Aries. And then it's going to move into your 6th house when it goes into Pisces. So your daily work, your routine, pets. Again, pets coming back from the past. Maybe you're going to have a kitty from when you were a child reincarnate as a puppy. Who knows? So there's going to be things going on in your daily life that are changing. And you're going to be also reviewing the way you spend your day, the way you spend your time. All right, Libras. So let's go into a little bit more guidance for you. Erica is saying Uranus and Taurus is also in your solar 4th. Okay, yep, mother right there. There you go. Just go to the root emotion in the body for Virgos and Virgo risings. Yes, so true. And I'm surrounded by Virgos, love my Virgos, and it's so true about the body. Okay, the purpose of this retrograde for Libras is to know you are safe and protected. You are safe and supported while you change your career. What did I just say earlier about your daily routine, your daily work? That does affect your career long term. The way you spend your day every day affects your long-term outlook in your career, right? So then they want you to know you're protected. You're going to be doing a lot of reviewing of how you want to spend your time, and you may rethink where you're headed with your daily work, but you're protected in doing that, right? You're very much protected in doing that. So if any fears are coming up around the change in direction you want to make with especially your work, then trust that this is happening for you. Some of these eclipses may just bring things to an end anyways, where you don't really have a choice. And maybe you are seeking those long-term relationships. Maybe you do finally want to find that life partner, but you're going to have to make this change in your career to do it, because maybe your career is taking up too much space in your life. And so you need to make these changes. So let's see what they say about that. Let's see finances, Libras. Goodbye to the old, hello to the new. All right. Again, as Noelle said, we cannot make this stuff up. You finished one part of your life, and now a new and even better part is beginning. All right. Out with the old, in with the new. That's what eclipses do. And I did not mean to rhyme that, but I did. Janie says, this is specifically what I needed to hear to be brave and release some fears right now. I'm so grateful that angels always know who's going to hear these messages. So that's why it doesn't really matter what sign you're listening to. If something gives you angel bumps or something resonates, please, please, please write it down. Please write down the date, the time, anything else that got your attention, because these are some big changes for you. And it makes sense. Aries is your opposite sign, Libra. It's opposing you, what's going on right now. So it's saying change, make this change. This isn't working anymore. And it's going to be really obvious what's not working. So let's look to see about your relationships, Libras. Honeymoon. This is an awesome card for you guys, Libras. Enjoy the bliss of holiday time together. And what is Venus like? Venus loves bliss and luxury and romance. Honeymoon's all about romance, okay? So maybe this doesn't have to do with a romantic partner for you, but maybe you do need to take a vacation or plan a vacation that's going to feel like a honeymoon. It's going to feel new. It's going to feel exciting, like you're just at the beginning of something. And that's what they talk about in relationships, the honeymoon phase, the beginning part, right? So they're saying out with the old, in with the new, but then you get to have this honeymoon period where you're so excited for the new things that are coming in. Just take your time, because Venus is retrograde and Venus does rule Libra. just take your time, but you are protected in making this change. So it's always just like, you don't just run out and quit your job, right? You take your time, but you really think about it. It's like when I moved from doing small business consulting to doing angel communication sessions and animal communication, I had to get really clear on how many hours a day I really thought I had for sessions. And would I even be able to supplement my income from the small business consulting if I felt like I only could do 1 or 2 sessions a day, depending on what else I had going on in my life, right? So it was a little scary, but it was also about protecting that change and doing it slowly. So I took my time taking on one clients, and I spaced things out, and I gave myself lots of time to do other things. And I didn't just shut down my small business consulting overnight, right? I took my time. So we are saying goodbye to the old, hello to the new, and we are going to be really excited about this, but it's okay to just allow it to unfold one thing at a time. So I love that for the Libras. And if this is a romantic partnership that you're thinking about, yay, go have fun, go enjoy, plan some time to enjoy the romance together. I love that. Communication coming your way, possibly. Anna says, I'm here, eye-rolling, listening to every sign because it's like I'm spying on everyone in my family that doesn't believe any of this. You know what? That is, you can't help but do it, right? Like, people around you, their signs. It's like, I definitely think of people in my life that I know have that sign as I'm listening to the message. I'm like, interesting. And, I'll get that validation. They'll call me up and they'll say, you are not going to believe what happened at work today, or you're not going to believe what my husband said. I'm like, oh, yeah, well, the cards kind of gave me a heads up on that one. So it is true. It's true. But that's why we have each other here. We got to have our community here to help us get through it all, right? Even when everyone around us is ignoring the energy. So moving on to Scorpios. Scorpios, this is happening in your 6th and 5th house. So again, 6th house is your daily routine, your work, pets, usually more large animal pets, but also pets. You could be rethinking the way you interact with your pets, or you're going to start doing a different routine. With your dog walking, you're going to do a different routine with how you set up your work schedule. Maybe you save your creative projects to the end of the day, and you're going to start putting your creative projects at the beginning of the day. And then, of course, your 5th house is creative projects. It's romantic partners. It's children. This is where, again, like I said, it doesn't mean literally children, but anything you would give birth to, like birthing a book or publishing something or starting a podcast, any kind of creative projects you're starting. You're going to be reviewing this area of your life. You're going to be reviewing things from the past, and you're going to be making some changes. So let's see what guidance we have for Scorpios. What is the purpose of this Venus retrograde for Scorpios? And thank you again for those of you who are hitting the like button and sharing this video. I really appreciate it. Author. What did I just say about a book? That is crazy. It says the purpose of this Venus retrograde is you have a book inside of you that wishes to be expressed. Make the time to write it. Everybody has at least one book in them. Every single person. Usually more than that. And it doesn't have to be a book. It could be storytelling through a podcast. But you need to make the time and space for this. That's why this Venus is retrograding through your 6th house. You've got to look at your daily routine. Are you holding space for that book writing? For me personally, I'm a morning person. So when I have something I really need to work on, it's the first thing I do. I try to exercise first just because it grounds me and makes me feel better. But sometimes I don't. Sometimes I even put off my workout till after I've sat down to work on that because I know I'm going to get that box checked. That's a priority. So there is something you're needing to hold space for. Maybe it's a blog. It doesn't have to be a literal book, but there is something that's the purpose of this retrograde, is for you to realize you have a book inside you that wants to come out. All right. So let's see what this has to do with your finances. Finances, Scorpio, you're going to benefit from being yourself. Being yourself. This situation calls for you to be your authentic self, which is the basis for your personal power. Yep. You guys get this over and over and over again in all my readings, Scorpio. You've got to get out in the sunlight. You've got to get out there in the spotlight. Let yourself shine. Let the spotlight shine on you. Tell your story. This is what they're talking about. Review things that you could tell a story about and be yourself. Really let the world see you. This is just going along with the 2025 angel messages alone, Scorpios. It was like, get out in the sun. And this is what you're being asked to do. Take what's inside, put it outside. It will help heal the world, and it will benefit your finances too. So start making time in your daily routine for that book or that podcast or that project, because again, it's going to be going back into your 5th house. Venus will be when it goes into Pisces, right? So we're going to maybe revisit. Where is that book you started? Where is that manuscript? What needs to be revamped? Did you already write something? Or maybe it was a pamphlet or something that you did for work, and you could go get it and update it, upload it, and start making money off of it right now. It's really right at your fingertips there, Scorpio, is what I'm getting for you guys. So what do we have for relationships for Scorpios? Give your relationship a chance. It says work on your partnership. All right, what came to mind first? This could be your partnership with your dog or your cat, because this is your 6th house as well. So that's, pets. This could be your relationship to your book, to your projects, to yourself. Like maybe you need to work on being more authentic. That could be what you have to spend time every day being authentic. Like, what is something I can do today, every single day, that allows me to feel like myself? And this could mean, because it affects your daily routine with your 6th house, you may have to look at who you spend time with. Are you feeling authentic when you're with those people, or do you feel like you have your guard up? Do you feel like you have a mask on? It's going to really benefit you to rethink that. Maybe you need to spend less time in that environment and more time with people or in places where you can be yourself and where you can work on your book, right? So really look at that, Scorpios. Let me know how this, I want to hear from all of you what goes on for you guys with this Venus retrograde. Please, please, please. It's so helpful to know, how this is affecting all of us, because we're all a collective energy coming here together, listening to this. And I am feeling for you guys that, your natural tendency is to want to go within and cozy up on the couch on a cloudy day. I always like to say, you love those cold, rainy days. It gives you the excuse to cuddle up and stay inside in your corner, but you're being asked over and over to get out there and be yourself. Well, you can have both. You can curl up inside and write your book. And that writing that book is exposing yourself and getting yourself out there where you can be in the spotlight. I love this for you, Scorpios. This is awesome. All right, moving on to Sagittarius. Let's publish the sign here and make sure it's up. There we go. Sagittarius. You just walked back in on your sign, AC. I love it. Heard give yourself relationship with yourself. I joined an Astro group and I have been doing more readings now. Good. Now I feel I'm focusing on being with people who get me. Love it, AC. Awesome. Perfect. Thank you for that validation. All right. So for Sagittarius, this Venus retrograde is happening in your 5th and 4th house. 5th house is creative projects, romantic partners, children. All of that. And then 4th house is your home, your where you feel secure. As Erica pointed out, your mother. Sometimes it can be father energy if you have a father that was more like a mother in the way that they took care of you or nurtured you. Like I have a father who's a Cancer sun sign, so I will still look at 4th house stuff since Cancer rules the 4th house, right? So you may have things come up around issues with your mother, things that need to be healed. Your mother might pop back in. Maybe you haven't talked to your mother for a while and it's time to plan something with her. Just remember to call your mom, RE, more. My mom lives super close to me and we go a week or two sometimes without seeing each other just as we get so busy. I'm like, we got to plan something. This is ridiculous. We're so close. So, and then, like I said, also where you feel secure. So this is your home and your family. So you may be rethinking your living situation, right? You may be redecorating, rearranging the furniture so there's a better flow. Okay, so these are all things to keep in mind. Moving on to the cards here. What is the purpose of this Venus retrograde for Sagittarius? Travel. Oh, that better make your heart happy, Sagittarius. You guys love to travel. The purpose of this retrograde is to travel. Your life purpose involves traveling. All right, so I'm already right off the bat getting that if you have any trips planned, you're going to have some aha moments. But also some of these trips are going to make you reminisce about the past. It's going to get you thinking. It's going to get you reviewing things. It's going to get you healing things from the past so that you can move on. Maybe you're going and revisiting a place you once went as a kid or that you've always wanted to go back to. You know what else I just heard really loudly? Reviewing past lives. So if you're not somebody who believes in past lives, that's fine. That could also apply to just your life up until now, like reviewing your childhood, your 20s, your 30s, wherever you are in the life pattern. But there is something around past lives for this travel too. So maybe you're having a past life regression. You're traveling through time. I don't know. That was really loud. So let me know in the comments if anybody resonates with that, or if you do, come back after the retrograde and be like, yep, I had a past life dream. I had a past life memory. All right, so let's move on to finances for Sagittarius. During this Venus retrograde, we have perfect timing. Perfect timing. This is the right time for you to move forward. Well, that's a great card. There's something you've been thinking about doing, Sagittarius, that you haven't been motivated. And I think what I'm getting with this Venus retrograde is by reviewing things from your past, especially having to do with your mother, your home, your creative projects, your romantic relationships, anything 4th and 5th house. By reviewing that stuff, you're going to finally feel like, okay, now is the time to act. Now is the time. I am getting that you'll probably wait till it's direct, but you will have so much clarity that you can start making the plans. You can start, writing your to-do list. You can start, really getting clear on what's the first step you're going to take. All right. So that's really, really good for Sagittariuses. I didn't see anything inappropriate, Erica. We're good. All right, moving on to finances. To relationships. This is, you'll see why I just said that instead of relationships. With the relationships for Sagittarius, finances and career, right? So it says financial issues are a factor in your love life right now. Okay, so this is interesting. You guys are thinking about making changes with your career. You just haven't really felt motivated. And then when it comes to romantic relationships, maybe your partner's just super busy with work, or maybe you're not taking the time that you need to away from relationships to focus on your career. Like maybe you're too busy doing everything for everybody else. And that's okay. I mean, you always are there for everybody else. You're always going and showing up and making things happen, making the magic happen, right? But maybe it's time to get a break. You've got this travel card here. When was the last time you took a trip by yourself somewhere? Like even just a staycation for a day where you got to get away and nobody needed anything from you. Like you could just sit and get lost in thought and not have anybody interrupt you, right? There's something around that for you guys. If you haven't already planned a solo trip anywhere, that this is going to be really good for you to do during this Venus retrograde. What is something you used to do back before you had kids or a boss or a spouse? What did you used to do with your downtime? Because I feel like with Venus retrograde, this is what you need to go do again, right? Go back to doing that. I try to think of those days where you didn't really have to be anywhere necessarily. Like you had things you had to do. Maybe you had a job, but it wasn't a career where it's like when you clocked out, you clocked out. What did you go do? Right. You know, like for me, I usually went out to the barn and hung out with my horse, and I would just lose track of time out there because I didn't have anybody at home going, hey, when are you going to make dinner? When are you going to be home? You know what I mean? So think about that for you guys, Sagittarius. There's something there. You're going to have a big epiphany through doing that. And I really like this for you because especially with when I do the all signs readings for Sagittarius, you're really supposed to bloom this year. You really are, but you're holding yourself back. So I think you're going to get an opportunity to see that by taking this time away. All right. Love that for Sagittarius. Moving on to Capricorns. Capricorns. This is happening in your 4th and 3rd house. So 4th house is your home, your family, your mother. Like I said, maybe father, if you have a Cancer-ruled father or anybody, a father that played the mother role or was extra nurturing. And then the 3rd house, which is, you know, short distance travel, publishing, communication, neighbors, siblings, aunts and uncles. You might be revisiting that. Do you have any aunts and uncles or siblings coming up? Anything planned in the future? Are you going to be just working on things together differently? Let's see. The 4th house, you know, is where Venus is right now. So just think about what are you doing around your home. I mean, I'm a Capricorn rising. I have been purging and cleaning. If you've been with me since the beginning of this live, you know that I said I've just really been reorganizing. I'm working on some redecorating. So this is hitting home for me as well. And yeah, I do want to, you know, spend more time with my mom coming up and even my sister. I have some plans coming up with my sister. So yeah, definitely this kind of stuff. Keep that in mind. But it could also just be that maybe you are starting something new, or I mean, you're going back to something involving communication. You're revamping it, right? Like I said, I'm going to be re-releasing those animal lives as individual videos that are more concise instead of just a live. So that's definitely something I'm using this energy for. So let's see, what's the purpose of this Venus retrograde for Capricorns? Books. You cannot make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up. I'll just go ahead and tell you, I am rewriting the book I started. I've been doing that. And because my angel communication class is wrapping up tomorrow, oh, sad tear, I'm going to have more time for my book. So, I mean, geez. What are you working on, Capricorns? Are you working on a book? We know Scorpios are supposed to be working on a book too. But again, we all have a book inside of us. So you can listen to any sign if something resonates for you. It says you connect to your life purpose through your involvement with books. Another thing I've been doing, for those of you who know, have done my journal with me and my intuition tracker, my routine record that I have in here, I've been working on more leisurely reading. I tend to only read for learning or for research. And I've been trying to make time every day for leisurely reading, like reading just for fun. So we get messages through fiction. It doesn't have to be, a nonfiction book for us to have an epiphany. How many times have you guys been sitting there watching a movie and had a realization about something totally different just because of something that was happening in the movie? It's happened to me so many times. And our spiritual team, our angels, our spirit guides, they will find ways to get those messages to us. And if the easiest way to do it is to have us watch a movie, they'll do it. Right? So I love that. I hear Chris Reck talk about that all the time. In fact, let me just put the link in here one more time in the comment section. And actually, I'll put it below too. On Wednesday, I have the honor of being on Minnow Pond. So join me for my live here on the channel about ravens and crows at 11 Central. And then we'll hop over to Minnow Pond Tarot. And Chris Reck and I will be doing all 12 signs for the eclipse season. So definitely check that out as well. Alrighty. What is the deal with finances for Capricorns during this Venus retrograde? We have your desire is within reach. Have faith as everything is working in your favor. All right, there's something that you are wanting to come true. You know, another thing Chris Reck always says, he says, look at the opposite sign of your energy too and see what the messages are for that, because I can help you. And he says that right now, Cancers and Capricorns, they're opposing signs, they're often getting the same messages. Well, that just popped into my head, because what did the Cancers get? They got your wishes come true. And this says your desire is within reach. It's basically the same message. It's coming for you, Capricorns. This is what you were wanting involving your finances or your legacy is coming for you. Books are a legacy. When you write a book, you are giving birth to that. That is something you are leaving behind for the benefit of others. So that is amazing. And with it being in your third house, you may be getting to the point where you're ready to publish something with this Venus retrograde. You're revamping something, rewriting something, and it's going to be ready to publish. It's within reach. Just keep going. I love that, Capricorn. So let's see what we have for relationships for Capricorns during this Venus retrograde. Passion. That's a fun card. Passion. Allow your heart and soul to sing with joy. Allow it just to sing, just be in the bliss, right? Venus loves that. Venus loves it when we get to be in luxury and joy and passion, right? Bring passion into your relationships. Who was the first person that came to mind? And the same thing goes for this book. Write with passion. Write about something you're passionate about, right? So Erica says that happens all the time with Virgo and Pisces with Chris Reck, and Virgos always get butterflies. Oh, really? That's cool to know. Yeah, it is so fascinating to look at your opposite sign. So that's why I always say, just look at all 12 signs, because if anything resonates, there you go. But when we are working on these projects, this legacy, this book, put the passion into it, okay? That's going to be really important, that you're staying invigorated and passionate about your work, and then it will come to fruition for you. I love that. All right, we're getting down to the last two signs, and then we'll do a bonus message to wrap it all up. We are moving on to the Aquarians. Why did I say Aquarians? Aquarius. Oh, you're so welcome, Priscilla. Glad to see you here. So what is the purpose of this Venus retrograde for Aquarius? Trust. You're going to be working on your trust. Trust your feelings and dreams to guide your career path. All right, Aquarians, you're making a change with your career. You're changing things. But you got to have trust that it is in your highest interest, that you're on the right path. You've got to take that leap of faith. I think what's coming up for a lot of Aquarians, what I'm getting here is that things are going to be revealed to you with this. Why did it get blurry? Sorry. No, you can see it there. Things are going to be revealed to you with this Venus retrograde about your relationships. That's going to almost force your hand. You're going to have to make these changes with your finances, because you're just not going to be able to deal with it anymore. I mean, these eclipses are coming through. Oh, I didn't even talk about your houses. It's in your third and second house. You can't make this stuff up. I forgot about that. But yeah, third house, publishing, neighbors, your communication, short distance travel, siblings, aunts and uncles, right? Something you are currently broadcasting is going to change or is going to reveal something to you. And when I say broadcasting, that could even be just things that you're constantly talking about with others, right? Your neighbors, your siblings, whatever. But something's going to be revealed to you that you're, and with these eclipses, that you're just going to say, enough is enough. I'm going to do it my way. That's what I'm getting for Aquarians, especially since then it also goes back into your second house, which is your self-worth and your finances, right? And something's going to be revealed to you where you do not trust something anymore, and you say, no more. I do not trust this. I do not trust you. I do not trust this project. I do not trust what's happening behind the scenes, and I am worth more. So that's really interesting. And when it comes to your finances as well, like trusting that you have that ability to create the worth and the finances you need. So let's ask directly about that. We have for Aquarians the, interesting. for your finances, we have birthday. A significant birthday holds the answer to your questions. You guys just came through your birthday. Happy belated. But what happened? What happened on your birthday? Or think of another milestone birthday. What was significant about that? Reflect on that. Reflect on what happened on your most recent milestone birthday, right? What happened at that time? You need to review that because that's going to help you with the finances, and it could be you got in an argument with a colleague. It could be you got in an argument with your spouse over finances, but review that. And it doesn't have to be an argument either. Maybe you got some money for something and you need to go back and trust that you can use that now. All right. Darby says you did that with your sister, the rebirth. All right. I like that. And so there's something here for Aquarians around a significant birthday in your career and just looking to see what do you trust and what do you not trust, and really work on that trust with yourself. That's that self-worth. Like, I've got this. I don't need that person anymore. I don't need that job anymore because I've got this, right? Oh, hey, James. Glad you're here. Yeah, good to see you. Yeah, definitely go back to the beginning. There were some really powerful messages in the Celtic cross. But thanks for saying hi. I'm glad you stopped by. For relationships for Aquarians, let's see what's going on for you guys. Stay optimistic about your love life. They are specifically talking about your love life. Positive thinking and faith will bring you romance. Aw. All right. Well, Aquarians, if you've been feeling challenged in your romantic relationships, focus on the positive, look for the good in the other person, try to remember the reasons you fell in love in the first place. We can all use this advice, right? We all get a little lazy in relationships, right? In all relationships, but even romantic ones where we just take the other person for granted. So if you've been going through a rough time or things have been kind of hard, try to just focus, stay optimistic. Now, it doesn't mean that things are hard between you either. It could be that just things have been it's been hard for you to get to spend time together, or it's been hard for you to get to go on that trip you want to go on, right? So positive thinking and faith will bring you that romance. Try to remember the things that helped you fall in love in the first place. Try to recreate that, Yeah, Erica. Yeah, exactly. But trust that it will work out. Trust the positive signs of things, okay? So if things are going really well in your relationship, Aquarians, but you're just like, when are we finally going to get married? When are we finally going to get that house? When are we finally going to have that dream vacation? Stay positive. There's things that need to happen with your finances first, all right? So don't put the horse before the cart. First, focus on the finances, and then these things are going to work out for you. Maybe it means your spouse has to take a different job or things have to change, but it's going to work out. Okay? I love that for you guys. Erica says, life is sometimes just hard and we have to remember that we love each other and have each other's back. So true, Erica. So true. I know. And that's when it's like, the hardest sometimes when it's hard and everybody's going through something, but very, very good point. Thank you. All right, we're moving on to the beautiful Pisces that are always so patient. Thank you, Pisces. This is a long live, but I'm having so much fun with you guys, and the angels wanted me to do it, so here we are. Moving on to Pisces, so this is happening in your first and second house, right? So right now, Venus is in Aries, which is your second house. Like I said, that's self-worth, finances. And then your first house is your physical body, just like we had earlier for Aries. It's when you come into this body, when you incarnate, it's your identity. So you're going to be rethinking your identity a lot with this Pisces, and with so much energy in Pisces and Neptune and Venus conjunct in Pisces one more time. I think it's only one more time, unless once it retrogrades, it does it. I'd have to look. But yeah, Venus won't be in Pisces by then. So I don't have it on me when that happens, but I know at the end of the month, Venus will conjunct Neptune in Pisces just a couple of days before Neptune moves into Aries. So this is huge. This is huge. It's huge for everybody, especially Pisces, but also look to see like what you have going on in the Pisces area of your chart, because that's going to be super powerful as well. So what is the purpose of this Venus retrograde for Pisces? We have infinite abundance. Infinite abundance. You're fully supported as you devote yourself to your divine life purpose. Pisces, this is huge. I love this. Things are really going to start clicking. And you've got to trust that infinite abundance. You know what I mean? And just think of the ocean and the water that just goes on and on and on, the depth of the ocean and the range of the ocean, the abundance of water drops in the ocean. This is going to be what you're asked to do during this Venus retrograde, is focus on infinite abundance. Do things that help you feel that way. Go back to things that you used to do that helped you feel abundant, okay? That's going to be super powerful. Hey, Angie, another Pisces there. Yes. All right, so let's move on to what your finances for this Venus retrograde Pisces. We have vegetarian. All right, so we don't take these cards literally. We'll break this down, but I will tell you what it says. It says a new way of eating gives you more energy, greater health, clarity, and stronger manifestation abilities. Okay, so what I'm getting here is that maybe you could be more productive with your finances in the way by changing the way you eat. Now, of course, I'm not a healthcare practitioner. This is not advice, but maybe there's something you could change on with what you consume that would help with your finances. Okay, maybe it'll give you more energy to work on that creative project. Or it could be that there's something that you are spending too much money on that isn't really benefiting you. You know, or have you been doing one of those fad diets and it's promising you all this energy and you're not really feeling that much energy? Maybe you don't need to be spending the money on all that. Maybe you need to change something up. Again, not advice, but think, what's the first thing that came to mind for what you're consuming? Because when I see a card that involves food, of course, I'm not taking literally. For some of you, it may be literal, but it could just mean you're consuming too much news headlines and it's just dragging you down. You're drained at the end of the day. You're going to bed drained. You're waking up drained. So think about those things and do things to nurture your body, because in order to feel this abundance, we need to feel healthy, right? So that's another thing that is coming up for me, is health is wealth. So do things to nurture your health so you can really step into that abundance. And let's see what's coming up for relationships for Pisces, and then we'll get to the bonus messages. And thank you guys so much for hitting the like button. I really appreciate it. Share this video with anybody it resonates with. And let's see what's coming up for relationships for Pisces. Soulmate. Soulmate. Yes, this is your soulmate. I knew it, Pisces. Your 2025 messages were also a lot about getting out there and traveling, because you're going to meet people. You're going to meet soulmates by getting out of the house. Go do the things you love. What's that hobby you used to do all the time that you haven't done in a long time? Go back to it during this Venus retrograde. Now, it could be people coming back from the past, and so we just want to be careful about that. But it could be a soulmate from a past life, right? Or it could be somebody coming back from your past to remind you what it's like to feel infinite abundance, what it's like to feel safe in a relationship, you know? So these are things that are going to be really powerful for you, Pisces, and it is actually going to benefit your finances and the way you see yourself, right? So this could be somebody coming back from your past reflecting to you the things they love about you. And then you're finally taking ownership of that. And they're saying, you know, you really are so intuitive. You really do take this perspective that opens people's minds. And you're going, yeah, I do. I really do. I value that. I accept that. I accept that I am worthy of sharing my gifts with the world. And this could come through a soulmate, just reflecting that back at you. That's what I'm really getting, is you're going to have some people reflecting things back to you that you're finally going to take ownership of, right? Like say somebody's saying you are a master at this and you're saying I am a master at this. You are owning that with that first house energy there. And then it's going to benefit your finances because you're going to own that mastery. So I love that for Pisces. It's absolutely amazing and really, really powerful energy. But look to see where Pisces is in your chart because we all have this energy, the Venus conjunct Neptune. Mark that day on your calendar. If I had it pulled up here, I would, let me see. Actually, I might have it in my notes. I was looking at the chart and I did take some notes earlier. Hang on. First, let me take off the Pisces sign so we can know where we are. Yeah, it's right at the end of April, I want to say, that Venus conjuncts Neptune. Yeah. March 27th, 3:40 a.m. Central. And this is going to be, maybe I said that at the beginning and I didn't, just forgot, but this is going to be where a lot of us are asleep during this time. And Pisces rules dreams and Neptune is a dreamy illusion. And then we're going to be opening up to it. So mark this on your calendar, March 27th and the days before and after. You may get some major downloads in your dreams. Everybody here, not just Pisces, okay? That's going to be super interesting to see what comes up. And let me know in the comments. Like this could be passed away loved ones coming to visit you in your dreams. This could be angels appearing to you, a new spirit guide coming in. It could be, people from our past, like I said, past lives. What sign was that got the thing about a past life? Was it Sagittarius? Yeah. Traveling through time travel. Like you could be astral traveling throughout this whole retrograde, really. AC is saying, yes, April is when Venus will conjunct Neptune, both in Aries. Okay. So that it happens again, but in Aries. Yeah. So March 27th is the last time Venus will conjunct Neptune in Pisces. So super powerful. I love it. All right, let's do our bonus reading here to wrap it all together. This is representing the current energy, the near future, and then the two actions to take. So I flipped those too fast. I'm going to go one by one here. Maybe you got a sneak peek, but here we go. Right now, at the time we are watching these messages, the energy is Knight of Air. Events are moving at great speed. Take time to carefully review your options. Creative solutions. So yet again, just that reminder to slow down and review all your options. Don't take the first thing that comes through the door. See if there's a better deal. That's what Venus retrograde is about, is looking for the deals. So negotiate, don't take the first offer, right? And I like what Chris Rex says from Minnow Pond. Again, reminder, we're going to be over on Minnow Pond on Wednesday, and we did a reading last week if you missed it. He talks about this being like the kid that makes everything, or the person that makes everything an emergency. Like, oh my gosh, they're going to fire all of us, I think is one of the examples he uses. And then it turns out it's just one person that was already going to resign or something. Like it's over-exaggerated thing. That's the salesman in your face saying, if you drive off the lot with this car today, I can give you this price, but tomorrow it's gone, that kind of thing, right? So watch out for that energy because we are in this Venus retrograde at the time we are doing this live. And so we are already exposed to people just making things a way bigger deal than they really are, being really pushy, being really dramatic, and over-exaggerating. You know what I mean? It's like the kid that comes home and says, the teacher was so rude to me. And then you call the teacher and the teacher's like, oh, well, I just asked him to push his chair in for the 5th time. And I think he just got embarrassed, like that kind of thing, right? It's like, okay, well, we can work on that. And this is the near future. These two cards are going to be the near future. So that's probably going to be within the next few days of you listening to this video. We have the Page of Air. Again, same kind of thing. Logical, honest, impulsive, curious, challenging information, delays or change to plan, truth delivered without tact. So again, this is crying wolf kind of energy. Now, it could be true. It could be there really is something that needs to be faced, but is it a little bit dramatic? Is it a little, I don't know, maybe this person is just, they're young and they don't have the wherewithal to realize this isn't that big of a deal. We can handle this. It could also be that they just say something really blunt and it hurt your feelings, but you got to be like, well, you know what? I'm going to have compassion. I'm not going to react to this. I'm going to respond. So some information coming in there too with these 2 air cards is interesting, but we'll get some clarification here. We have this 5 of fire. Yeah. See, you add air to fire and what happens? Explosion, right? So I'm not calling that in. That's not what's going on, but this could mean an argument could potentially happen. It says competing goals, bothersome details, conflict with others. It literally says conflict with others. So just watch out, because this younger person or this Knight of Air, they're stirring the pot, and they're may even be fighting with each other. This could be 2 people in your life that are not getting along, and they're trying to get you in the middle of it, right? And you're having to deal with it. So who came to mind first? Because this is the current energy. So there's already somebody that's like overreacting, right? And then it could involve a younger person. And then again, you're having to deal with it. And maybe it's causing you conflict. Like, it's like not, I was talking to a client about this the other day. It's like, you want to be like, not my monkey, not my circus, but they keep pulling you into it. Like you're stuck in the middle and you don't want to be a part of it. So see where that resonates. And let's get these action cards here. AC says 5 of fire is a Leo card. Yep. And Knight of Air is a Virgo. That's right. Opposing sign to Pisces here. So moving on to the 2 actions to take at the time you're hearing these messages, we have Page of Water. Okay. And again, a new energy. It says a new person enters your life. A relationship begins a new phase. Heightened psychic abilities. All right. I like that. But this is an action. One of the 2 actions we're going to take. And you're going to want to focus on your psychic abilities is what you want to do. That's what they're telling you to do. And in the Celtic Cross, what did we have as the present energy? The Moon card. There are things going on behind the scenes. When somebody runs in and tells you the sky is falling, check in with your intuition before you jump to any kind of, grabbing your emergency supplies and going into a bunker. You know what I mean? Like, get work on your psychic abilities, work on your intuition. This is going to help you throughout this entire Venus retrograde. But whatever is going on with this conflict, he said, she said kind of thing. That's what I'm hearing too, is like, you're going to have people coming at you going, he told me that blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, no, I didn't. I said blah, blah, blah. And you're stuck in the middle. Use your intuition, ask your team, and let's pull one more card for an action card to take, okay? Because the first action was, use your intuition. AC saying way different energy from the air and fire in the prior section. Yes, very different. Isn't that interesting? Well, and that's because we're talking about this is like a bonus for right now, whereas prior it was like the whole Venus retrograde. So this is like a more micro look at the energy. And here's your second action to take. We have Page of Fire. Look at this, 3 page cards. This is young. This is new energy. It says outgoing, creative, confident, news of exciting new endeavors. Use your originality and ingenuity. Look at that. So these are your action cards here. Something new, using your psychic abilities and your intuition, being artistic, and something new by being original and being confident, right? This is awesome. But they are also telling you, like, take a new approach. So if you've got people in your ear, you may need to just go work on you. You may need to just be like, you know what? You guys figure this out. I am going to go work on my book or my podcast or my YouTube channel. I'm going to start taking clients. I am going to go do my thing. And I'm going to let you guys figure this out, because not my monkey, not my circus. That's what my animal communication teacher used to tell me was, sometimes you have to like really get clear on who's involved. And it's like, if I'm not involved, step away, right? Like, let them figure this out. This is their journey too. So yeah, really, really cool stuff. And like I said, this Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central, we're going to be talking about ravens and crows. Plus, I'll have angel messages for you. Then we will hop over to the Minnow Pond Tarot with Chris Reck, and we're going to do all 12 signs, the eclipses that are coming up, which, like I said, combine this with that because these eclipses are happening during the Venus retrograde, right? So it's going to be really powerful. And then Friday morning, I'm going to be doing my weekend energy update that I've done the last few weeks. Let me know if you guys enjoy those things. I don't know if I should be doing something different with that time or not. But if it's helping you, I'd love to know because it's super fun to connect with you guys on Friday mornings and kick the weekend off that way. I love doing it. And yeah, I've got some exciting new announcements coming up. I'll be announcing on Wednesday at the live. So hopefully you'll check in there. If you haven't already, make sure you're signed up for my free newsletter at devondoer.com so you can get my ebook, Is It a Sign? And be notified of upcoming events, classes, and lives that we're going to be doing. So thank you all so much for being here, liking and sharing this video. It's my honor to connect with you every day. And remember, take time every day to connect with the angels.